You know, we all think we know this sixth commandment. It seems so simple, right? So direct, maybe even a little obvious. But what if I told you that the common translation we've all heard doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of what it's really about? All right, let's get into this.
This is it. This is the version that's been taught for centuries. 4 simple words that seem to draw a really clear line in the sand. So, this is our starting point, the foundation that pretty much everyone is familiar with.
And here's the big question we're going to explore. Because when you actually go back to the original language, a much more specific and honestly a way more profound picture starts to come into focus.
Okay, so our first clue that something's different is that a lot of modern translations are actually changing the wording. You'll see the language shifting away from the general term kill to the much more specific act of murder. And this isn't just, a matter of style. It's a huge linguistic choice that's rooted deep in the original text.
So let's look at the Hebrew word itself, ratsach, and just look at these definitions for a second. It's not just about ending a life. There are these incredibly violent ideas packed in here, to violently destroy, to shatter into pieces. I mean, that paints a much more intense, visceral picture than the simple word kill, doesn't it? And if we want to go even deeper, which of course we do, we can look at the ancient pictographic form of Hebrew. This is where every single letter was also a picture with its own meaning. It's kind of like linguistic archaeology, and it gives us this incredible insight into the real essence of the word.
The word ratsach is made of 3 of these picture letters. First, you've got resh, which is a picture of a head, representing a person. Then there's tzadi, which is a picture of a man lying on his side. And finally, het, which is a fence, symbolizing division or separation.
So when you put those pictures together, it's amazing. Ratsach stops being just an action. It becomes a story. It's describing the one who puts a person on their side through violence, and in doing that, creates this permanent division, this total separation.
So we've seen what the word means, but why? Why is this act considered the ultimate transgression? Well, the answer takes us from language right into theology, and it reframes the whole thing, not just as a crime against a person, but as a direct assault on the Creator.
The thinking in theological texts goes something like this. If God is the sole originator of life, like a potter who creates a beautiful vessel, then to murder is to unlawfully smash a vessel that you did not create. You're basically playing God. It's seen as a direct assault on the image of God stamped into that person, because the very life force, the blood, belongs to the Creator.
And this is not a new idea. Not at all. It's established super early on. This verse from Genesis sets a really stark precedent. And the reason for such a severe consequence is spelled out right there, because humans are made in God's own image.
But just when you think you've got it all figured out, the story doesn't stop with a physical act. Later teachings just blow this definition wide open, taking it from an external action to something that happens inside our own minds and our own hearts.
And this is where Jesus just radically reframes everything. He takes that physical act of ratsach and he completely internalizes it. He says that unjust anger, or using dehumanizing words, like calling someone a fool, comes from the exact same root as murder, and is subject to the same severe judgment. I mean, that is a game changer.
And this idea gets reinforced. It's not a one-off. This verse makes the connection so explicit you just can't miss it. It says that hate isn't just something that leads to murder. In a spiritual sense, it is murder. The internal state of your heart is just as significant as the external act.
So we have this profound theological idea that our thoughts and our words can actually be a form of murder. It's a powerful concept, but it's a little abstract, right? So is there a way to visualize it? Well, let's look at a famous, though pretty controversial, series of experiments that gives us a fascinating visual metaphor for this very idea. So back in the 1990s, a researcher named Dr. Masaru Emoto conducted these really interesting experiments. He wanted to see if human consciousness, our thoughts, our words, our intentions, could physically affect the molecular structure of water. So he'd expose water to different things, freeze it, and then photograph the crystals that formed.
He used a whole range of words and ideas. On one side, you had these really positive concepts, like love, gratitude, and thank you. And on the other side, you had these intensely negative ones, like evil or you disgust me, and even that specific phrase, you fool. What he reported for the negative words was pretty startling. The water apparently formed these distorted,
chaotic, just broken-looking structures. He claimed the word evil basically obliterated the crystal's formation entirely. And that phrase, "you fool," the exact same one from that earlier teaching, was said to cause this visibly ugly, distorted mess.
But on the flip side, it was a totally different story. The water that was exposed to positive words and intentions reportedly formed these beautiful, complex, symmetrical patterns, almost like perfect snowflakes. Thank you created this gorgeous, harmonious shape, and the combination of love and gratitude apparently produced the most intricate, jewel-like crystal of them all.
So why does this experiment capture people's imaginations? I mean, it's just water, right? Well, here's the kicker. The human body is about 70% water. And whether you believe words can literally change water crystals or not, the experiment works as this incredibly powerful metaphor. It suggests that the words we speak, the thoughts we hold, they have a real impact, creating either harmony or chaos inside ourselves and in the people all around us.
So, where does this whole journey leave us? We've gone through linguistics, theology, even a wild visual metaphor. We can now reframe this entire commandment. It's not just about what we're forbidden from doing, but it's about what we are called to do. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. We started with do not take a life, a negative command, a don't. But the deeper, richer understanding transforms it into a positive, proactive command. Always speak and think life. It's a call to be creators of harmony, not agents of division, with our actions, with our words, and yes, even with our thoughts.
And that really leaves us with one final crucial question. This ancient command, when you look at it this way, becomes incredibly personal. It suggests that with every thought we think and every word we speak, we are either building up or tearing down the world and the people around us. So the question is, what reality are you building?